Yes, sir. There we go. What's up, yo? It's your boy DJ Integ. I just want to thank you for coming to be a part of this dope course. It's my intention that when you leave here, you'll have more value than when you first came. A little bit about me. I am an artist, engineer, and producer. I also am an on-air personality at a radio station called Boost Radio, with whom I'm very grateful for. Graduated with my degree in recording engineering and production, also management. Bust my butt, man, and I was valedictorian. Who would have thought little old me would be valedictorian? But I'm grateful. And ever since then, ever since I received my degree and graduated valedictorian, I've been trying to use all the knowledge that I have to help other people, because I know what it was like to be out there and seeking and searching and trying to figure things out, not quite understanding it. You can find some of the stuff on Google. You can find some of the stuff if you search a little bit. But sometimes if you don't know where to look, if you don't know exactly what you're looking for, it can be like an endless rabbit hole. And I'm trying to prevent that for you in this course. Graduated from a school called the Extreme Institute in downtown St. Louis that was launched by diming, selling, Grammy Award winning artist Nelly. And with that connection, I was able to develop some great relationships. I'm a member of the Recording Academy now, which is the association who gives away the Grammys, who gives out the Grammys. I'm a member of the RIAA, which is the organization who qualifies records diamond and gold. So I've been in the game for a while, well over 10 years. I have well over 10,000 hours in the game. So I think I am suitable to be able to instruct you in this course. It's going to be a dope ride. It's going to be a dope journey. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for being on this journey with me. We're going to have some great fun. We're going to give away some great knowledge, and it's going to be valuable. So let's get into it. All right. So what we going to be talking about? Let's get into it, Joe. These are the crucial talking points we're going to get into throughout this course. And I'm going to go in really great detail. I'm going to go in depth. I'm going to show you guys some graphics. I'm going to show you guys some images of things on some of these sites that you might not quite understand. We're going to go through the information and break it down to find out what it means. That way you can leave with a better understanding. And it's my hopes that if you get the knowledge, you can go and spread it with somebody else. So we're going to be talking about music royalties. Okay. That's how we get that bread, Joe. That's how we get that guwap. That's how we get the dough. Yes, we're going to talk about a couple different types of music royalties specifically related to the royalties that you collect as an artist, engineer, or a producer. We're going to talk about publishing entity setup. You don't know about publishing or how copyrights work. Whenever you have a song, you have two separate copyrights. And if you collect your share as a writer, you have a separate side of income as a publisher that you can collect as well, but you got to have a publishing entity set up. We're going to talk about digital distribution. I distro through Distrokid. Shout out Distrokid. Never had a problem. Very cut and dry, very self-explanatory. And it's been a dope process so far. We're going to talk about registering with a PRO, which is an acronym for Performance Rights Organization. You hear people talk about ASCAP, BMI, and CSAC all the time. So we're going to go into a little bit of that. Hopefully we can expound more on the information that you already have so you can have a greater understanding of who they are and what they do. We're going to talk about registering with SoundExchange, which is super dope. SoundExchange is an organization that helps you collect your royalties outside of PROs when it comes to certain royalties. Also, Songtrust. Songtrust is an organization. They're kind of like an ASCAP, a BMI, and a CSAC, but what they do is they collect your royalties globally. And you don't want to leave anything on the table, believe me. So let's keep it moving. All right, back to it. A little bit more about me. I kind of gave a little bit about it in the introduction, but a little bit more about me. I go by Integrity, also DJ Integ. I took the I off integrity because I'm an imperfect person. I'm a work in progress. God is still working on me, and I'm just trying my best to push towards the mark. Some of my career highlights, as I stated, 2015 Extreme Institute valedictorian, Avid Pro Tools 110 certified. Been using Pro Tools for well over 10 years now, man, and I teach kids how to use it. I use it every day, and it's definitely my go-to DAW. Integrity Music Records founder, so I founded my own label. I'm actually here in my studio right now that I've built, man. God has allowed me to have a great studio space that's proven to be a liaison for young artists, engineers, producers who want to meet up and have a creative place to create and not have to deal with a lot of distractions. It's a small, safe space that's conducive to creativity, and I love it. Also, I'm a member of the Recording Academy Memphis chapter. Grateful to be a part of that, man. So it's been a dope ride so far. All right, let's get into it. What are musical royalties and the different types? You see my little emoji? Oh no. So, music royalties are payments to rights holders, songwriters, composers, and recording artists. Whenever you create some type of intellectual property, when it becomes in a tangible form, you create your own copyright for that music. You create your own intellectual property. And you can get paid from that intellectual property as long as you got your music royalty set up in the right place. And we're going to get into that. So we're going to get into the different types of royalties, and then we're going to talk about how that all works. So check it out. Moving forward. All right. There are 4 different types of musical royalties. You got mechanical, you got performance, you got sync, and you got print. The 2 we're going to dive into the most on this course is the mechanical and the performance. Those are the 2 that I've seen that really attaches themselves to the lion's share of artists, engineers, and producers revenue. Not to say sync and print doesn't, because sync can be a very lucrative source. If you don't know what sync is, a side note, sync royalties are anytime you get your music synced with TV and film, and then you get a royalty generated from that. And there's different ways you can structure that business. You can structure a payment up front. You can structure a payment on the back end as it generates more income the more time the film or TV is played. And you can work it to where you can have payment on the front and the back if you're doing business right. And print, I see a lot of print music. I know my church, just to give you an example, my church uses print music all the time, and we have to license that music so the choir can sing it. So that's how print music works. But as you can see here in the green, we got mechanical and performance, and those are the 2 we're going to tap into on this course. So mechanical, what we got going down with that? Integrity. So mechanical royalties are, the industry calls them mechanicals for short. They're paid to the songwriters and artists when music is sold. Think about, if you think back in the day, think about CD sales or vinyl sales. You know, CD sales are pretty much obsolete as of now. I got a couple older aunts, older uncles who still listen to CDs, and they pride themselves on their CD collection. But as of now, it's pretty much become obsolete. The newer cars that they're making doesn't even have CD players in them, so that tells you where CDs lie. I think it's dope though that vinyl sales are up. I get an email once a week, just keeping me updated with what's happening in the music industry, and I think I seen that vinyl sales were up like a significant percentage, but I can't remember the exact percentage, which is dope because I'm a DJ. And I think it's dope when you can actually whip out the vinyls and spin a little bit on the turntables. But when you think about mechanicals, anytime a song is mechanically reproduced, it can create a royalty. But also when you think about streaming, you can get streaming mechanicals like on-demand streaming. So if you got that paid subscription to Spotify, if you got that paid subscription to Pandora, meaning they're not curating your music for you, you actually can go on there and pick the songs you want to listen to. Those streams generate mechanical royalties, baby. So if you got your friends and your fam bam and you are artists and you know they got them paid subscriptions to Spotify and Pandora and whatever other streaming services out there you can do on-demand streaming, tell them to make sure they running your numbers up because you're getting your mechanicals for that, baby. All right, let's keep it moving. Okay, integrity. Who pays mechanicals? Who pays mechanical royalties? Let's get into that now. So in the US, if you ever heard of the Harry Fox Agency, so anytime someone wants to cover your music, so say for instance, you got this dope song, it went #1 on the Billboard charts, and it's just doing fantastic. And you know, the song after a while starts to die down, years pass, you get this young up and coming group that's buzzing or band that's buzzing, and they're like, man, that song was dope. It really like meant something to me when it was playing. I want to cover that song. That just means they're going to redo their own version of that song. When they do, you get paid a mechanical royalty from that because they're covering your song, and that can be very lucrative. There's so many songs out there that have been covered time and time and time and time and time again, and the writers who wrote that song, produced that song, are generating a large lion's share of royalties from the mechanicals for people covering that. And one of the main organizations that's kind of the front runner, or more so the leader of cover licenses, is the Harry Fox Agency. They're super dope, man. They just issued a license out so you can cover, so your song can be covered, and they make sure you get paid. So if you're not registered with the Harry Fox Agency, it would be a good idea to register with the Harry Fox Agency. Also, the MLC. What's the MLC, Integrity? Let's get into it. So the MLC is the Mechanical Licensing Collective. What they do is they just kind of like Harry Fox, but they issue blanket mechanical license to streaming services, and they pay the royalties to songwriters, composers, and producers. So they're on the streaming side of the mechanical license. So if you're not registered with the MLC, super easy to register. Go register with them. That way they can be paying you your royalty share for your mechanical license, because you're getting streamed through Spotify, Pandora, like we just talked about. You feel me? All right. Now that we've tapped into mechanical royalties, let's keep it moving to performance royalties. So this is where everybody be talking about, man, I got to get my ASCAP, I got to get my BMI. Not so much CSAC, because you got to be invited to be in CSAC, but definitely ASCAP and BMI, and they pay performance royalties. Let's talk about it. Performance royalties are the fees music users pay when music is publicly performed. So if your music is playing on that elevator while you at that hotel going up to your penthouse suite, if your music is playing at that clothing store while you shopping to get them new J's or them red bottoms or whatever you like, look, give me some Adidas, some Adidas, you know what I'm saying? I even rock some Pumas if they fresh. You know, give me some of them. But anyway, if you go shoe shopping or clothes shopping and your song is being played inside that establishment, you get a performance royalty. That's called a public performance. Anytime it's played, like at a concert venue or at a bar or on a jukebox, you get a performance royalty for that. So music played over the radio in a restaurant, a bar, over a service like Spotify or Pandora. Now, these aren't on-demand streams now. This is when you say, all right, I want to listen to Integrity Radio. Now, it's going to play some Integrity songs, but it's also going to play some other artists that's similar to Integrity as well. So that's not necessarily on-demand streaming. Pandora is pretty much curating that for you. It's going to play those artists as they see fit. Now, that's when you get a performance royalty when Spotify or Pandora plays it. So it's different from on demand. Picking those songs is actually when they curate it, and that's how you get that performance royalty. That's considered a public performance. Now, you probably already know this because this is one of the most widely spread bits of information in the music industry. Who pays performance royalties? Let's get into it. So PROs, once again, is the acronym for Performance Rights Organizations. And some examples of PROs I just mentioned is ASCAP, BMI, and CSAC. They collect songwriting performance royalties from music users and then pay songwriters and rights holders. Now, I also want to add a side note. By me being a DJ, radio stations pay a blanket license to ASCAP or BMI to play music. So whenever we spin your song on my radio station, we have to pay ASCAP and BMI to play that music. And they then take that royalty that's generated from us playing it, and they pay the rights holders, the songwriters, the publishers, whomever owns the copyrights to that song. So that's how performance royalties work. And it's a very, very lucrative source of the music industry. So please make sure you register with ASCAP, BMI. I would say CSAC, but you got to be invited. So throughout this course, I love being able to drop side notes. So performance royalties are typically split into two equal halves. Well, what you talking about, Integrity? Two equal halves. Well, if you look at my little graph down here, it kind of explains it. So you have a writer share and you have a publisher share. And a lot of people, especially when it comes to BMI, because BMI will allow you to join as a writer for free. A lot of people will register as a writer and then forget that they have to register as a publisher, because when you're with BMI, you get the writer for free, but you also have to pay $200 to become a publisher. And if you don't do that, that other 50% of your income will be left on the table, and your kids gonna be wondering how you had a #1 song and they can't even eat off of it. Granted, it's still in that 95-year copyright law. We ain't gonna really get into so much about copyrights, but if you do a work for hire, you own that copyright for 90 up to 95 years. Side note, look into that, because that can be very lucrative when it comes to generating generational wealth and legacy building. I'm all about that. Back to it though. You have a publisher share and a writer share. And in order to get that publisher share, you have to have some type of publishing entity set up. And we gonna get into that, baby. You already know I ain't gonna leave you on the table without understanding how to set that publisher entity up. I have one. My publishing company is called Integrity Music Records. That's where we at right now, in Integrity Music Records headquarters. But you have to have that publishing entity set up if you want to get that separate set of royalties that you are entitled to, because the song is broke up into 2 separate copyrights and it goes deep. So please, please, please make sure that you have that publishing entity set up. So not only you get your writer share, but you get your pub share. You got to get that pub share, baby. All right, publishing entity setup. Now, if you're business savvy, then you already know what it's like to set up an LLC or a sole proprietor or things like that, even a corporation. One of my buddies, he just went straight. He's like, look, I'm setting me a corporation up. I'm doing it big. But if you are a single member LLC, if it's just you, or if you want to be a sole proprietor, any of these business structures can be used to create your publishing entity. So check it out. Publishing entity setup. Songwriters who retain their publishing rights, meaning you didn't sell your publishing away. Whenever you create something, you have that writer share and that publisher share, but you will have publishing companies who come in and try to set up a publishing deal with you, and then they'll go and try to make the song make more money. You'll still need a publishing entity, but you won't own all your publishing. You hear that a lot in the entertainment industry. Man, I own all my publishing. You know, people brag on it because it is a big deal. Because a lot of times when you're in the music industry, you get companies who want to use or obtain a percentage of your publishing so they can own it and generate royalties. But the trade-off is they go and they make that song make money, which means that everybody's eating. But if you can retain all your publishing and still make your song make money, do that, baby, because you can sign an admin deal, which means they don't own any of your publishing. You just have them do your paperwork and then you pay them. All right, so songwriters who retain their publishing rights earn both the writer's share and the publisher's share of any income that the song generates. So always remember, you have a writer's share and the publisher share, and they're 50-50, and you don't want to leave that other 50% of revenue on the table. Let me go back. You guys see my little Capitol Records building right here. Anyway, I'm into graphic design, all that good stuff. All right, so publishing entity setup continue. Most artists will decide to start their own publishing companies as a LLC. That's what I did. LLC works for me because I love the limited liability that goes along with that, and we'll get into that. Most artists will decide to start their own publishing companies as an LLC or sole proprietorship, as these are the most flexible and simple business forms of the bunch. So yes, out of the business entity setup, LLC and sole proprietors are the most flexible and most simple. However, my personal suggestion is that you set up an LLC. Disclaimer, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a tax person. Oops, I skipped the page. I'm not a tax person. I'm not like an advisor when it comes to any of that stuff. All I know is that LLC has worked best for me. Let's get back to it. Okay, sole proprietorship. It's a business operated and owned by one person. I guess hence the term soul. One, the simplest business form, but not the most risk-free. So you want to read up a little bit on that to figure out the pros and cons of sole proprietorship, the benefits, as well as the risk. Corporation is a group of people or an organization authorized to manage the company as a single entity. A more complex business form, but believe me, it's not something that's not easy. It's easy to set up, so don't let the corporations fool you. It's just if it makes sense for what you're trying to do, then that's what you should pursue. Like I say, I'm not an attorney or any of that. That's my disclaimer. But what has worked best for me is this last option, the LLC or limited liability company. It provides the protection of assets that a corporation receives with versatility and pass-through tax benefits of the partnership or sole proprietor, meaning a business taxes can be paid through someone's personal tax return. What really sticks out to me about LLC, a limited liability company, if my business starts to fail or I have a rough patch, which we've seen that throughout these last few years, especially with the pandemic, what happens is if you owe, like if you're in debt and you owe, you can't really have your personal assets be attacked, like your home or your car, or you got a boat. Basically, it's protected when you file that LLC structure. And I love the tax benefits. So, like I say, I'm not a tax attorney or a lawyer. I don't know it all, but I've researched enough to know what works for me. Before you decide to set this publishing entity, set it up, please do your research to find out what works best for you. What has been working for me is to set up an LLC. And let's get into how I did that here in Missouri. All right, so here in Missouri, our Secretary of State as of now, as the recording of this video, is John R. Ashcroft. So whenever you want to set up your publishing entity, you go to your Secretary of State website. At least that's how it works here in Missouri. And I know it's sort of similar in Illinois because I helped a young artist set up his publishing entity. The only thing is that was different from Missouri and Illinois. He had to wait a bit before he can get his numbers. So what happens here in Missouri, you basically go to the Secretary of State website and you can see here, you can register a limited liability company. You basically click on that. You can enter all your information. Please, before you do this, make sure you know what you want to name it. It can be Dope Artist Publishing Company. Whatever you decide, just make sure that name isn't used already. And you implement that. You implement your address, who you want to be your registered agent. I just use myself to be my registered agent because that's the person who will get contacted if something changes with the business or the legal structure and they need to find out some information. They need to be able to reach the registered agent. I want them to call me because I know all things happening with my business. And if there's questions that arise that needs to be answered, I want them to call me. So I made myself my registered agent. You basically go through all the steps, fill in the information. Here in Missouri, I think it was $50. And then you get your articles of incorporation right away, meaning now you have a legit business, baby. And that's what it's all about. Free enterprise, baby. So there's a few steps. Like I say, you go through the SOS. Most states have a fee. In Missouri, it's $50. You can also, if you're like, man, integrity, I ain't too cool with that. Not to say I would do it wrong, but I just feel comfortable if I had a professional to help me. That can happen too. The first time I ever set up an entity, I went through a company called LegalZoom. They were quite pricey, but it's worth it because they're going to do it right. They're going to make sure you have a thorough understanding of what you're doing and what makes sense for your legal structure. I know for me personally, I had a great experience with LegalZoom, but you can choose other service to help you set up your entity. I've heard about Zen Business. My sister used Zen Business, so I've heard about that. So yes, if you want to check that out, go check those companies out. They can definitely help you with your business entity setup. Here's a little bonus material down at the bottom. As you can see, my MJs is dunking out. Let's go. So select your state, name your LLC like I talked about. Make sure the name isn't used already, but when you type it in, it'll tell you if it's registered already in your state. and you have to change it. You have to create a variation, put the 1, 2, 3 on the end. I don't know, something that makes your name different from the one that's already registered. Choose your registered agent, file your LLC with the state, create an LLC operating agreement. And we won't go into too much in this course, but you want to, after you get your LLC established and you get your articles of incorporation, that's your number to let anybody who you're registering with know you have a legit business. After you do that, you want to get your EIN number, your employee identification number. It's free of charge. You go through irs.gov to get it. This is how you would open up your business bank account. It's super easy to open a business bank account. Most banks don't even have you put up an initial deposit. You basically have to have your EIN number, and you get that free. I think the irs.gov website is closed on the weekends and after 5 Central Time. That works for me. But once you get your EIN number, it's free of charge. They'll give it to you right away, long as within that required time slot. You can go get your business bank account. That way, if you choose not to get checks, they can deposit your royalties right into your business bank account. It's very convenient. I love waking up to see a royalty being deposited into my bank account. It makes the day go by a little bit more better. I'm just saying. So you feel me? I hope this makes sense, yo. It's not easy. Just trust yourself. Trust your instincts. You might make some mistakes. It's okay. There's no success without failure. So just trust and believe in yourself. If you get in too much of a snag, I'm going to have my email at the end of this course. You can email me. I'll answer whatever questions you got, because I want you to be successful. I want you to be great. And I want this thing to work out for you. I want you to be able to collect your royalties so your kids can appreciate it, yo. They're going to say, great granddaddy or great grandmama set their business entity up, and we still reaping the benefits from it. That's generational wealth, and that's so dope. Moving on, baby. All right. Digital distribution. There's tons of different companies out there that does digital distro. Like I mentioned before, I personally use Distrokid. I've never, ever once had a problem out of Distrokid. They've been good to me. Shout out Distrokid. Distrokid, if you see this, you've been good to me. If you want to sponsor me, I got a thriving YouTube channel. I'm always creating courses. Let's talk, baby. But anyway, Distrokid has been good to me. One of the things I like about Distrokid, I'm a real cut and dry person. I'm a real meat and potatoes person. I like things to be told as it is, with no hidden agenda. I like things to be right out front so I can read it, process it, and understand it. And Distrokid makes that happen. You go on their website, the literature on there is very easily to understand. It's worded very great, especially when you're in the music industry. You learn certain terms or you talk a certain way. It's worded in industry terms, man, and they have it. Just, it's so easy, so user friendly. And like I say, I'm not sponsored by Distrokid. I'm just grateful for how easy they make it for indie artists, indie producers, indie label owners like me, just to be able to distro your music to the masses, and they help you with so many other things. But as you can see from this graph that I created, you can distro through CD Baby. TuneCore was actually the first person that I distroed through. Never had a problem about TuneCore. They've been good to me. I actually still have a single out right now that's circulating through TuneCore. Never did anything with Reverb Nation. I've been on the website. I've signed up, so I have a profile on there. Reverb Nation definitely got some dope tools that you can use. I've never distroed to them, but I like the tools that they have when it comes to you potentially touring, how you can see different places, and it's just dope. I have a few friends who distro through United Masters. Yeah, so like as you can see, you have choices, and this is how you get your music out. So if you're wondering, which nowadays this information isn't hidden. For a long time, the music industry, you had to know somebody or you had to be on the in crowd to get certain information. This information right here isn't hidden. If you need to find out how you can distribute your music, get it on iTunes, Google Play, Tidal, Spotify, this is the easiest way to do it, distro. And then there's tons of other stores that a lot of these distribution services allow you to be on. I think it's hundreds of them, man. I get an email from Distrokid every so often saying there's a new store available, and they'll automatically add my music to that store, which is so dope. I don't have to worry about trying to go in and select all my songs, add them to the new store. They do it automatically, and that's so dope. All right, let's do it. So, digital distribution. Like I say, I use Distrokid as an artist. Digital distribution has become a must in order to reach all your potential fans. You want your fans all around the world to be able to get your music, and you want them to be able to get it instantly. You don't want them to have to wait, because if they have to wait, there's time they could be using to go listen to somebody else. And believe me, they will, because there's millions of artists out there, millions of options that you can choose from. So what's going to set you apart for your fans not leaving your music to go find somebody else's? You want people to be able to find it easy. You want people to be able to search right for your music, and it's not 4 or 5 different artists with your same name. You want people to be able to find your music fast and listen to it and vibe out and utilize music as they see fit. Smart distribution grows your visibility. It gets your music into as many ears as possible, which is what you want. You got a story that you're telling. You got, like, if you're an artist, engineer, producer, you have a story that you're telling, whether you're vocally saying it, whether you're sonically saying it, or whether you're, you know what I'm saying, engineering and creating that certain sound. That's your story, and you want as many ears as possible to be introduced to who you are and your sound, because you're offering something to the world. I always say you want to add to someone's life and not take away. And when you're putting your intellectual property out there, when you're creating something, you want to be able to add to someone's life, so they leave better after they heard your music than they were when they first came. And that's what the goal is, yo. Also, to generate some royalties in the end. So like I say, I use Distrokid. This is my Distrokid Dashboard. So this is one of my latest singles. So if you ever want to check it out, I collabed with a Capitol Records artist named Fern. He's super dope. He's one half of the group Social Club. You never check Social Club out. If you never check Social Club out, please check them out, because they're so dope. Very eclectic. I tell Fern all the time, bro, you like the Christian Biggie, because they do positive hip hop, and kind of, I've never really heard them lean more towards pop, but they got some songs that can be classified as pop, but they do positive pop and hip hop. And they are unashamed Christians, which is dope, because I'm a Christian. So this is my dashboard. This is the single that me and Fern distro through. And as you can see, if you go into Distrokid, you can see the song, you can see the feature artist. If you look here, I got it blacked out. You can see the UPC code, which you'll need, especially when it comes to making sure you're registered everywhere to collect all your royalties. And you will also need this ISRC code, which I got mine blacked out just for safety. But you will need both of these codes when it comes to distroing, because when you register with certain entities, they may need to see the UPC code. They may need to see the ISRC code for tracking purposes, to make sure they're collecting all your royalties for you. So whenever you distro, please make sure you take note of your UPC code and your ISRC code. Once again, shameless plug. This is one of my latest singles. Go check it out. All right. Registering with a PRO, baby. Let's get these performance royalties. You hear people talking about, like we say, BMI, ASCAP, or CSAC all the time. So when you hear PRO, they're using that as an acronym for Performance Rights Organization, and they collect performance royalties. So let's see what's going down. All right. So I use ASCAP. I love ASCAP for a number of reasons. I feel like ASCAP is me. You know, artists, songwriters, composers, you know what I'm saying? I feel like ASCAP is me. Publishers, like, I feel like me and a bunch of other like-minded individuals like me band together and created an ASCAP. And if we create an ASCAP, we know what we need. We know what's going to be best. We know what's going to help our careers flourish. You know what I'm saying? We know the ups, we know the downs. And that's what ASCAP is. It's a bunch of people just like me banding together to help collect the royalties for people like me. That's why I joined ASCAP. They offer a variety of services, yo. ASCAP, look, you want to sponsor me? I'm here. Like I said, I got a thriving YouTube channel. I'm always teaching and creating. If you ever want to incorporate something that you do with something I do, a partner, let's get it, because I am a strong advocate for ASCAP. So this is my dashboard in ASCAP. When you go into ASCAP to register, because this what happens once you get your ISRC code and you got your publishing entity set up and you go to register with ASCAP, you make sure that you implement all the info that they're asking for. So you can see I got 47 works. When you go in here, you hit register a work. And when you register a work, they're gonna ask you for the name, the title. They're gonna ask you if there's a featured artist. They're gonna want the ISRC code. And you want to make sure you give ASCAP all that information. And the reason I structured this course in these steps is so as you complete one step, it helps you to be able to complete the next step, because you don't want to go trying to register your song with ASCAP and it hasn't even been distributed to the world yet. You have to have it distributed first and then you register with ASCAP. Or you don't want to come register your song with ASCAP if you don't have the publishing entity set up. You want to make sure you have that publishing entity set up first. And then now when you go register with ASCAP, you can register your writer share and your publisher share, because you don't want to leave that 50% on the table. Remember, got a writer share and a publisher share, and they both are 50%. You don't want to leave that extra money on the table, believe me. So when you go into ASCAP and you setting up your account, you want to make sure that you have all the info they need. And if you follow each step of this course back to back, you will have everything you need. So ASCAP requires 2 accounts. So I have 2 accounts with ASCAP. This is my writer account, my name. You can see my name, Reginald McNichols. Look me up, Google me. I'm a cool cat. Follow me on social media at Integrity Music, all that good stuff. We get to my contact information. But that's my name, Reginald McNichols. And I also have a publishing account. My publishing account is under my record label name, Integrity Music Records, and the accounts are pretty much identical. But the only difference is one is a writer account, one is a publisher account. So ASCAP, they're dope. They're not super expensive. As of the time I'm recording this video, the fee for ASCAP as a writer is $50, and the fee for ASCAP as a publisher is $50, which, that's 3 months of Netflix bills. We can sacrifice a little something to make sure we have our royalties being collected properly, so we can take care of our kids and our kids. I always talk about legacy because that's what I'm about, generational wealth. But anyway, you want to make sure that you have a writer account and a publisher account. And when you go to the ASCAP dashboard, you will see register as a writer, register as a publisher. Do both. I encourage you, please do both, because you don't want to leave any money on the table. So ASCAP distributes royalties to writers and publishers separately. So you have a writer share, once again, and a publisher share. And I know it's getting a little bit redundant, but you wouldn't imagine all the artists I see. They'd be like, yeah, I'm registered with ASCAP. I'm like, okay, did you register for a writer and publisher? And they like, they don't know. All they know is they was around somebody and they told them they needed to register with ASCAP. They paid that $150, and they may have registered as a writer. They may have registered as a publisher, but they got millions of streams. And it's like, yo, you're leaving money on the table, man. Let me help you. Let me show you how to get this set up right. I've even paid the $50 fee for artists just to help them get their royalties collected properly, because it'll just sit. Your publishing share or your writer share will just sit if you don't properly have it registered. And you want to make sure you keep your numbers close by. Whenever I collab with somebody, I got an iPhone and I got in my notepads all my publishing and my writer information. All I got to do is click send. It's going right to them. My name, my address, my ASCAP writer number, my ASCAP publisher number, and I just send it right away. I'm always ready to send it. So if you want to collab, if you're doing some dope, positive pop and hip hop music, let's get it, baby. But yeah, so ASCAP distributes royalties to writers and publishers separately, even if you are a publisher of the music that you write yourself. So that goes back to us setting up that publishing entity. Yes, you are a publisher. A lot of times the publishing term can get confused because you like, is this a publisher? Am I a publisher? Do I need to sign my publishing over to a publishing company? It gets confusing. But just remember, whenever you create that music and you put it out, you are a publisher. Even before you put it out, you are a publisher because it's your intellectual property. Even if you spitting that music, at a concert and it's not even released, you're still a publisher of that music. This is just how you collect your publishing royalties. Got to make sure you got that. You have two accounts. Two accounts are required. So there you go. That's ASCAP, baby. You BMI, shout out BMI. Nothing bad against BMI, Broadcast Music Incorporated. I feel, my personal opinion, ASCAP works best for me, but you choose. I got people that rock with BMI, that are my friends, that are generating decent royalties from BMI. So it's not really like which one's better or best. It's which one that works best for you. ASCAP works best for me. Yeah. All right, reminder, ASCAP, BMI, and CSAC collects performance royalties. A performance includes, once again, when your music is played on the radio. So if DJ Integ is short for integrity. So if DJ Integ spins your music on Boost Radio, you get a performance royalty. Anytime it's performed live, anytime your music is publicly performed, not just you performing your music on the stage, but anytime it's publicly performed on a jukebox, in that clothing store, on the elevator, that's a public performance. It generates a royalty. You are the covered artist, are streamed on Spotify or YouTube. So don't forget about the royalties that's collected from YouTube or Spotify, things like that, because that is a public performance of your music. Spotify, YouTube, Pandora, all of these places are places that will spin your music, will stream your music, and you get a performance royalty from that. But you got to be registered with one of these entities, ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, to collect those performance royalties. They're not the only one who collects performance royalties, but here in the States, they are the ones who collect those royalties. Moving on. Y'all see me downtown representing my city. I did a public performance downtown by the courthouse, by the arch. It was a dope time, dope experience. So you can see, like, I've been doing my thing. Praise God. All right. Sound Exchange. Okay, DJ and Ted, you went into Sound Exchange a little bit in the beginning, but you ain't go deep. So I need to understand more about what Sound Exchange is, what they do, who they are. Break it down for me. Now, I will. Sound Exchange isn't like a company that's like super widely underknown. A lot of people know who Sound Exchange is, but a lot of times it gets confusing to what they actually do or the royalties that they actually collect. So let's get into that. Sound Exchange collects and distributes royalties for the featured artist and sound recording copyright owner. Well, what does that mean, DJ and Ted? Featured artist. So the artist that's on the song. You seen the song I did with the Capital recording artist Fern. Shout out Fern. He's a featured artist. You can be considered a featured artist. And the sound recording copyright owner. Most times that's the record label. Most times the record owns the sound recording copyright, which another word for that could be master. But you can also own your masters rather. And if you own that, Sound Exchange is gonna pay you, baby. So you want to make sure you register with Sound Exchange because you don't want to leave that money on the table. So ASCAP, BMI, and CSAC collect and distribute royalties for the songwriter, composer, and publisher. We went through that. Satellite radio providers and webcasters pay Sound Exchange. So when they stream your music due to their utilization, they're using your statutory license. When they stream your music, they have to pay you. So Sirius XM, You got that going down. You got Sirius XM popping. Sound Exchange collects those royalties from them and pay you. Let's get more in detail. All right, this is how it works. Royalties from Sound Exchange to the featured artist on the recording, to the non-featured artist, and the rights owner of the sound recording. So that can be you, that can be the artist that you collab with, and it could be your record label as well as you if you own your masters. So they pay those people. They pay you. Please don't leave this on the table, because when it comes to the digital age, Sound Exchange is that deal when it comes to collecting your royalties from most of these streaming services. And you want to make sure that you register with Sound Exchange so they can properly collect it for you. You feel me? All right, so this is my Sound Exchange dashboard. Sound Exchange is dope, yo. It's super duper easy to register your song. Now, when it comes to Sound Exchange, you want to register as a rights owner, which if you have a label like me, I have artists that I've pushed. Shout out Collab, shout out Authentic. So these are artists that are creating music and it's coming out of my record label. Me being the record label owner, I had to register as a rights owner, because if I own the copyright to that music, I have to register as a rights owner so they'll know how to pay me. Also, you if you're an artist, you have to register as an artist. So it's kind of like registering as a writer and publisher with ASCAP, but it's slightly different. You want to make sure that you register as a rights owner if you own your masters, and you also want to make sure you registered as an artist if you are an artist or you're featured on different songs. So Sound Exchange can properly pay you. You want to make sure that you're registered as a rights owner and as an artist. And it's super easy to do. And when it comes to registering your songs, you basically go here, submit a recording, and they're going to ask you some of the same information that ASCAP asks. ISRC code. Sound Exchange does need your UPC code, so you want to make sure you have your UPC code. They're going to ask you how much of the song you own, if you are the rights owner. So you got to do your splits in there. I forgot to mention that about ASCAP. You got to make sure you do your splits. So if you only own 15% of the song, you got to make sure you implement that in there. And ASCAP, going back to ASCAP, we'll jump back to Sound Exchange while this is fresh on my mind. ASCAP, you have to make sure the song equals 100%. So you have to be able to do the math. So say, for instance, you own 50% of the song. When you break it up on ASCAP, you got to make sure you put in there on the writer share that you own 25% as a writer, and whoever is featured on the song or whoever you're collabing with, they own 25% of the writer. Same thing with the publishing. If you have any questions about this, email me and I will show you exactly, explain exactly, and show you exactly how to do it, because some royalty collection agencies will allow you to, like if you own 50%, just go in and put 50%. But when it comes to ASCAP, if you only own 50%, that means that you own 25% of the writer share, 25% of the pub share. Somebody else who's on the song owns 25% of the writer share, 25% of the pub share. That way it equals to 100%. If you are unsure of what I'm saying, email me and I will explain what I mean better and in detail so you can make sure that you do it correctly. All right, back to Sound Exchange. This is the interface. This is the dashboard. As you can see, this is my dashboard of me being a rights owner, Integrity Music Records LLC. But I'm also a writer registered with, an artist registered with Sound Exchange under my name. So you want to make sure you do both. All right. Registering with Songtrust. Who is Songtrust, Integrity? What does Songtrust do? We about to get into that. All right. Songtrust collects both globally. So when it comes to performance and mechanical royalties, they collect them both. So they're kind of like an ASCAP. They're kind of like a Sound Exchange. They do mechanical royalties and performance royalties, but not just for here in the States. They do it globally. They do it everywhere. So you want to make sure you register with Songtrust, because if your music is playing anywhere outside, excuse me, if your music is playing anywhere outside the states, you want to make sure you collect it. When you're talking so much, your throat gets dry. Got me some freshly squeezed apple juice. You dig? I squeezed that myself. Not squeezed it, but juiced it. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. So, registration. Songtrust collects royalties on behalf of songwriters from PROs and also helps songwriters register with PROs right from their Songtrust account. So, Songtrust does a little more than collecting your royalties. They will help you get registered with other PROs as well. They have a bunch of different services. They also interface right with Spotify. So if you release the song, you don't have all the info, you can interface Songtrust right with Spotify, and they can pull the info right off of Spotify to get you the info you need. Songtrust is dope, yo. Definitely a must need. You definitely need to register with Songtrust. As of now, I can't remember what the fee was, but it was very inexpensive. I think it was like $50 to register. It's been so long since I registered, I don't remember the exact fee, but it's very inexpensive. So don't let $50 stop you from being able to collect your royalties that can generate you millions. All right. So here's the interface for Songtrust. When you register a song, you go in, you put the name in. You can put the songwriters, which you see here. My name, Reginald Lee McNichols. You can put if you wrote the lyrics or the music. You can put how much of the song you own. Now, this is a side note. Whenever you're in the studio, whenever you're creating, if you're working with multiple artists, engineers, and producers, and you guys are all collaborating on the song, please, 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 make sure at the end of that session, everybody fills out a split sheet. What's a split sheet, Integrity? That's just a sheet that identifies who did what on the song. So say, for instance, I'm working with 3 other artists and we're all collaborating on that song. We all gonna split it up, 33 and a third. So everybody gets 33%. You don't wait until after the studio session's over, months later when the song decided to come out, and now you're asking each other, well, what should the split be? And then you don't want any confusion. You don't want someone to say, well, I don't agree with that. I felt like I did more work, or I felt like you didn't do enough work. You don't deserve 33%. In order to keep all that confusion down, let the powers that be, let the dope artists that be that went ahead of us, who've already experienced all of this stuff, let their situations tell you and I the right thing to do. Do a split sheet. You basically put your info on there, no person. You don't have to put your social security number on there or nothing. An example. I put my name, Reginald Lee McNichols Jr., artist name, integrity. What did I contribute? 33%. You can also put your PRO numbers on there. Here's my ASCAP writer number. Here's my ASCAP publisher number. Everybody do that. Sign off on the end. Everybody gets a copy. Now you got paperwork to show. We all collaboratively worked on this song. This is what we created, and this is what we all agreed on. That way, once the song blow up and sell millions and millions, there's no confusion for somebody to go back and say, hey, I didn't get all my percentage. I was supposed to get this. And you got your split sheets to say, look, we all signed off on this. We all agreed on this. This is what we determined. This is what it is. You got that paperwork to say. So please do a split sheet. Anyway, back to Songtrust. I do a lot of side notes, man, because I be having a lot of industry stuff going on up here in my head, and I be wanting to get it all out. I know I can't do it all in just this course, but if I can throw you a side note, maybe you had a question that you couldn't quite get answered up to this point. Hopefully, I've answered it with one of these side notes. But anyway, here's the Songtrust interface. You input the full song title. You input all the applicable songwriters. And you can link your songs directly from Spotify. Like, say, for instance, you didn't distro it, but you know that you're featured on the song. And you can't get in touch with your friend to give you the ISRC codes or the UPC codes. And you're like, man, I don't know it. But you know what your percentage is. You know what you all agreed on that you're all going to get from the song. You're like, man, okay, I know the songwriters. I know the percentage. I just don't have the ISRC codes, the UPC codes. You can link your song directly from Spotify if it's already been distributed. Songtrust will pull all the info off of it. That way you don't have to worry about getting in contact with your friend who's went MIA, who's got all the info, which I think is so dope, especially me working with so many different artists. A lot of times you just can't get in contact with people. And if they're the sole distributor of that music, you don't have no choice but to wait and be at their leisure, except when it comes to Songtrust, because they'll pull the info straight from Spotify. All right, let's get to this bonus material. I'm always trying to drop some secret sauce, man. And a lot of this bonus material isn't material that's just not widely out there. You can look at it and seek it out, but I'm always doing consultations with artists, engineers, and producers, just trying to help them understand how to do certain things. Being a member of the Recording Academy, being a member of the RIAA, just registering with these different entities in the music industry, I get emails about certain things and some information that I might get that's new. A lot of people might not get that. So this is some of the secret sauce. I talked about it in the beginning, some of the bonus material. So you hear about people all the time charting on Billboard. Man, my single or my album made it to number 18, or number 10, or number 1, or I made it to 56. It's all a great, dope accomplishment when you're in the music industry. When you make the Billboard charts, that's kind of like your stamp of approval to say, all right, this is no longer a hobby. This is no longer something that I just feel is a side thing. This is a real thing, and I'm starting to see real acclamations from it. So being charted on the Billboard is a dope accomplishment. And if you've ever charted on the Billboard, give yourself a pat on the back. I've never charted, but the future is still bright, baby. All right, so let's get into it. How do you chart on the Billboard? So, you ever heard of SoundScan? If you never heard of SoundScan, I'm glad to be introducing you to SoundScan. SoundScan is dope. It's free. You don't have to pay for it. And what does SoundScan do? Here you go. SoundScan tracks your sales. So Nielsen, which SoundScan is Nielsen is all comprised, they track your music and music videos. That track the sales of your music in retail in America and Canada. So whenever your music is sold, you hear people, man, like they said, Drake on CLB, I think he did 604,000 units in the first week, which is kind of unheard of now in streaming, which is like so hard to do. Like back in the day when CDs were still popping, you can do that in the first week like it was nothing. You know what I'm saying? And like your career really be set in stone just from those first week sales. But now with streaming, it's so hard to, do $1 million out the gate. But it was very easy to do for like artists like 10, 15 years ago, as of the recording of this video. But now you see, like I say, people like Drake doing those numbers in the first week. And that's when it comes to the album sales or how they're counting it. SoundScan count those. So Billboard uses the numbers from SoundScan for their charts. And if you want to check the Billboard charts, you can check them regularly on the website. How much is it? As of the recording of this video, Nielsen SoundScan registration is still free of charge. Here's the interface. Anytime I release music, no matter if I feel like it's going to chart or not, it's always a common practice to make sure you take all the steps, because you never know which song is going to be that song. So whether you feel like it's going to be or not, go through these steps. Go through the setup with ASCAP or BMI, the Songtrust, the SoundExchange, SoundScan. You want to make sure you go through all these steps, because you never know when it's going to be that one. And if you're not properly set up, you probably sold 1 million records. And if SoundScan ain't counting them, they can't send that information to Billboard. A Billboard can't collect that information, and you will probably be on that chart. But since you didn't register properly, you're not on there. So this is the interface. It's super easy. Registering in the U.S., you can use the format type. Can be an album. It can be a single. It can be an EP. You put the title, the artist, the release date. As you see, they just want some bare minimum information. This is where that UPC code from whoever you distro through comes in. So if you distro through Distrokid or TuneCore, this is where that code comes in at. And you want to make sure you get that and have it ready to go into here. All right. Moving forward. Now, I hope this course has offered value to your life. As you can see, I love teaching. I love being able to share the information that's in my head. Anytime somebody comes sit in this studio for a consultation, I tell them, look, I am an open head. I just want to open my head, take everything out, open your head and put it in the top. If you have any questions or if it's something that didn't quite just find good soil, something that you're just trying to understand better, this is my information. You can hit me up anytime. I promise you, I will respond. I am a dad of 5 beautiful children and a husband of 11 years, and I might not be able to get back to you right away, but I promise I will get back to you. You can ask anybody who's ever interacted with me. Yeah, integrity, you know, he gonna get back with you. He gonna tell you what it is. He gonna, to the best of his knowledge. If I don't know the answer, I will get the answer because I got a bunch of friends in the music industry. I got friends that won Grammys. I got friends that's multi-platinum. I got friends that's doing great things in the music industry. So if I don't have the answer, I'm gonna get that answer for you. But don't just be giving my information out. It only applies to people who took this course, to you who took this course. You have my information. Please don't throw me out there online so everybody got all my information. But if you want to mail me a letter or something, use snail mail. Here's my mailing address to my studio, so it'll come straight here. We have an attendant up there at the front who collects our mail, collects our packages. So if you want to send me something, there's my mailing address. If you want to email me, this is my main business email. I know people are like, man, you crazy. You give me your main business email? I don't mind. Look, so this is my main business email. You can hit me up. This is my office line. If I'm not here in the office, it'll ring my cell phone, so you can contact me at any time. This is my social media. I'm on all social media. I'm on all of them except TikTok right now because I can't get into my TikTok account. I used to log in with Instagram and I never added any extra information like my phone number or my email. I was just logging with Instagram. And now they don't do the Instagram login no more. So I can't get access to my account. I still got the TikTok. If you do Integrity Music, you will see it. I just can't access it. So, you know, you still run the numbers up for you, boy. Anyway, in addition to that, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, LinkedIn. I'm out there. And please check out my thriving YouTube channel. Me and my family, we have a family YouTube channel. It's about faith, family, and love. So if you like YouTube channels about family, check it out, man. My kids are crazy. If you think I can get a little animated and excited at times, you got to see my kids. And if you go on YouTube and you type in Integrity Music or Integrity, you will see us. We're at, as of the recording of this video, 5,060 subscribers. So who knows, by the time you get this course, we may be up higher. So I'm grateful for that, man. It's been dope to kick it with you. I hope this added some value to your life. I hope you leave this course better than you were when you came. I hope you're able to take some of this knowledge and apply it to your career or to someone else's music career. Because if we don't spread the knowledge, then we'll starve for knowledge. So I'm always trying to spread knowledge. I'm always trying to put it out there. So thank you for being a part once again. Once again, my name is Integrity. Remember, integrity matters the most when you're all by yourself. God bless you. I love you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting this course. Peace.